Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, Emerald Night Photos. John, how you doing?
Good. Glad to be here.
Good. Excellent. You made it.
Yeah,
You
I
made it.
did.
You made it. Yeah. I was a little worried you'd have a huge disaster, apparently, like you had yesterday. I was like, oh, that's
Oh, yeah. No. I think there's some. I got my team looking into. They're going to be doing some work later tonight. So it's like, I told them, hey, I got something more important to do. No.
oh, I appreciate it. I'm glad I'm more important. All right. Well, I am going to start us off with a little thing I like to call What Are You? With the
Oh
fake
man.
Myers Briggs Geek Nerd Dork. We got to discuss this, and I'm going to share. Give me 2 seconds. Share the screen. Yes, share the screen. And window block. There we go. All right. So, if you haven't heard the last few weeks, I go over this. I kind of talk about this thing where it's Geek Nerd Dork version of Myers Briggs. Now, according to this, if you have a high IQ and you're socially awkward, you're a dork. If you have a high IQ and you have an obsession, you're a geek. If you have a obsession and you're socially awkward, you're a stalker. If you happen to have all three, you're a nerd. So where do you think you kind of fit in on this little Venn diagram? Where are you at
Oh
here? Are
man.
you in the center? Or are you to the left?
I
I
would
hope you're not
say
to the right, because then we're gonna have to worry about other things.
no. Maybe more to the left. I would say maybe. In between geek and nerd. I mean, it's hard for me to. I'm not somebody who really likes to, toot my own horn. It really. I mean, that is
By all means, toot your own horn.
I want to
We got
believe I
no
have a
judgment.
pretty decent high IQ. I mean, not
Okay.
not a genius by any stretch of the imagination, but I do feel, yeah, I got some smarts up there a little bit. Um, and obsession. Yeah, I mean, if we're talking, like, you know, collecting or anything, collecting anything, I think that's what I really gravitate towards. So
Okay.
socially awkward, a little bit. So I mean, I might be more in the nerd side. I would have to say.
All right. That works. That
Yeah.
works for me. All right. So normally I send the questions beforehand, but I totally brain farted on that. So, age is getting to me. So I kind of defined what a play state is. It's a state of mind where one is absorbed in an activity that provides enjoyment and a suspension of a sense of time. When was the last time you played?
Oh, wow. I mean, it's. I think it's when, I mean, I get that feeling. I guess whenever I do get some, a figure in the mail, or I get, I can unbox something and open it up and have it in my hands. I think that's just that, or even the idea of getting something. There's some things I have in my mind that I want to get, and it's just like I do have some sort of like, oh, that feels so great. It's like it's almost like a warm feeling, like a
Yeah.
blanket, and it's just like that because but as I met as we were talking about earlier, I mean, my job can be a little bit stressful, and it's like sometimes long nights
Mhm.
and very stressful situations. So a lot of that takes a lot of my time, and then when I can kind of have those moments where I can be like, oh man, I got this new, either I went to the store and found something that I wasn't expecting to find. I was like, oh, you know and I can take it home and unbox it, open it up, and see it in my hands, and then eventually take photos with it. It does give me that kind of like euphoria and kind of just that relaxation, like, oh man, this is like such a
So it's a way to manage stress and coping. So
oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah, definitely, because yeah, it's just yeah.
good. Well, while we're speaking of people enjoying themselves, we're gonna say hi to the chat. So there's Miss Allison. She was here earlier, like way earlier, but she's still here. Oz was on here, but you know what? He logged in yesterday and left the comment, so
Oh, okay.
it deleted it. There's Adam at Highly Articulated. There's the other John, figuratively speaking. See, there's Oz. Back.
Oh, there he is. Yeah.
Ted from helladopetoys.com for all your toy needs. Good place to go. If you got, if you like, I'm probably going to end up getting that Mezco Firefly. I don't know. I'm waiting for my Destro to come in and then I'll decide.
Yeah, I haven't pulled that. Yeah, I mean, the Destro looks nice, but man, I don't know. It's like I'm kind of.
It was it was mildly painful, but you know what? 4 payments, equal payments, no interest. I'm good.
That is a good thing, but it's dangerous. It is
It
dangerous.
is. It is. It's a slippery slope. But
Yeah.
as long as that total doesn't go over a certain amount each month, I'm good.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
where I got to keep it. So as soon as one drops off, I can get something else.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. I'm finishing up
So,
some payments here, so it's like, well,
yeah,
then I can kind of the slate's clean, so I can see what else I can get.
yeah. And there's Thanos Copter
Thanos.
and Nolan, the man
Hey,
who's
Nolan.
everywhere, all the time.
I don't know how he does it. Yeah, he just.
You know what? He's amazingly everywhere. I don't under it.
I mean,
Yeah, there's
maybe
James,
maybe it's a
Ratface
clone.
44
Maybe
reviews.
maybe it's
Good to see
multiple
him.
Nolans.
There is Eldor saying hello.
Eldor. Good evening, sir.
And I know I saw. Oh, there's Black Knight, the other half of Hella Dope Toys. Thank you, sir, for being here. Jeremy J, you're. And of course, let's see. Hang on. Where is it at? Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Lawrence, Punk with Toys is here. All right. Everybody's here. All right. So you kind of said that gives you, a little bit of euphoria, at least temporarily, a little bit of enjoyment. Hmm. When you were a child, what was your favorite ways to play? What did you do? How did you play?
I mean, as a kid, yeah, it was with my action figures. I mean, that was just something that I had. I was born in '82, so that was you know, the, the start, and then that throughout the whole '80s was just nothing but just getting every kind of any kind of franchise that came out. I mean, doesn't matter which one it was, but I had to have some sort of action figure, in some shape or form, and that was kind of just. I mean, my whole room had bins and toy chests is full of just action figures and of different lines. Some more than others, but I mean, it was just everywhere. If we went to the store, I had to bring something with me. I had to bring, my mom usually wouldn't let me. It's like, oh no, you don't have to bring any toys or don't. It's like, no, I need to. Church. If we went to church, I wanted to bring. So I'd always hide stuff in my pockets or try and hide.
Pocket toy.
Yeah, and just try and
Yeah.
like, take them out while, I know I shouldn't have, but it's just, it's I just, loved having them and just creating this world that I could just, that was my own imagination and my own creation. Again, because of I was born in the '80s, it was just like taking the stories and everything you saw on the TV shows, whether it was Master of
Mm-hmm.
the Universe, GI Joe, Thundercats, Ghostbusters, Turtles, whatever it was, and then just okay, now the show is over, but I want to continue. I don't want it to end, so I would take my figures out and just play. But then there was also like I don't want to say warped, but because it was the '80s, you know, and it was kind of the Wild Wild West back then, as far as at least in in my family, as far as parental supervision on what I watched. I mean, I'm like 6 or 7 years old, watching Predator, watching RoboCop, watching Commando, and so I'm not only am I watching GI Joe, the a real American hero, but I'm also watching Predator. I'm like, oh man, so I'm melding the two together at
Yeah.
such a young age, and having Duke getting his arm blown off or something, and kind of just or Serpentor, getting his head blown off, and kind of just taking it to a different level when rather than just going pew 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 pew, just
Yeah.
I was developing like these sequels to Predator, using the GI Joe characters, and even though there was after the movie came out there was nothing coming out or there wasn't a sequel right after, I was making my own sequel, and just that's kind of
Yeah.
how I would you know how I would really play was just developing my own little mini movies with my figures.
Okay. So, do you remember how that made you feel when you played as
Oh,
a
it
kid?
was Yeah, it made me feel great. I mean, again, I was just in my own little world. I didn't have, um and again, and not really to fault my parents, but they were because they were both working. So that, and so they were just trying to provide for me and my brother, my sister. So, I mean, that was just something that I would just do, and yeah, it really made me feel, like, okay, this is I'm having fun here. Like you know, I'm I'm making the sequel to RoboCop, or I'm making the sequel to Predator, and just having fun with it, and
Yeah.
and then waiting for the next episode of GI Joe to come on, or next episode of He Man.
So, can you think of a time that you've had those same kind of feelings as an adult?
Really, it's just, I mean, it's kind of come back to me with my photography, with my actually getting my figures out and posing them, and lighting them, and setting up a shot, and kind of just getting into that old method of just playing with them, but just enjoying the craftsmanship that figures have now, and how they're so well made, and just leaps and bounds of what I had as a kid. And and again, I just enjoy doing it. I mean, it really gets me relaxed. It has me thinking as far as like how I want to maybe, how I want to create a shot, and how do I want to, it just gets me kind of it has that part of my brain just like kind of going overdrive. Like, how can I do this? I want a specific shot of Cobra Commander or Do, and how do I need to take what's in my brain and put it out there.
Yeah.
But again, it's a real kind of just stress reliever. After a long day of work, I'll come up here to my to my little man cave, or it's our theater room, but I kind of turned into my toy collecting room, and
Your toy room.
I'll just go and just kind of start looking around, like, who do I want to shoot today? Who do I want to, like, okay, let me grab Lionel, or let me grab He Man, and let me do something with them,
Okay.
and sometimes it comes out good.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's one of the things that why we have some of your photos that we'll go over later, because there's some fantastic stuff. And,
Oh, thank you.
I enjoy when you post something up. There's always a good photo, at least every day or every other day. I can ooh and ah for about 5 or 6 minutes, and you know it's something to give me ideas for when I do my displays and my shelves too. So
Mhm.
there's ways to work with that. So I want to share with your current collection. We'll come back to your childhood collection here in a little bit,
Okay.
but I want to talk about your current collection. So give me a second, and I will be sharing it. So, do. Wish there was a way to make this faster, but you know what? There's just sadly not. All right, so Hot Toys.
Yep.
I do want to say hello to Happy Accident. He's in the chat tonight. He came in. So these are your Hot Toys. So I'm assuming you're a Snyderverse person,
Well, I mean, I'm a
or is this
DC.
just one of those? It's the only ones you could get.
Wait, I'm a DC person through and through. I
Okay.
mean, it's always been that's I don't mind Marvel. I mean, I enjoy both, but I'm a DC guy through and through. And at that time, man, was it 6 years ago, 7 years ago, that like that this is at least what we're being presented. This was going to be our version of the MCU, and this is going to be our
Yeah.
version of the Justice League. And it's like, okay, cool. I'm gonna I started with the BVS, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, and then, okay, eventually they're going to do the Justice League, and I'm going to get Aquaman and Flash, and just funny enough, I got to know some sideshow that my Cyborg is finally going to ship. I think it's supposed to
Finally.
be, yep, next week. But the it's kind of bittersweet
How
because
long? How long has that one been out though? For a while, right?
well, I think he was supposed to, I think a year, I think almost, maybe almost 2 years, because he was supposed to originally come out November of last year, and they kept getting delayed. But I mean, Flash and Aquaman, there was no Cyborg to be seen at that point, and we were all kind of wondering. This was like back in just before the original the theatrical Justice League had come out,
Yeah.
and I'm like, where's Cyborg? I mean, and years and years and years. So it technically, yeah, probably 6 years, 5 years maybe of in the making.
Yeah. Sounds
And
like
it's
it.
yeah, and it's bittersweet because now everything's getting blown up with
Yeah.
James Gunn, and so it's like, okay, well, I mean,
It's just another way to sell you a few more, right? That's how that
yeah, I
works.
mean, at this point, I'm not even. Yeah, it is bittersweet because again, my goal was to have all 6 of them. Have the
The core
have
members, yeah.
yep, and then I even have. I mean, I didn't take a picture, but there's a poster. There's a movie poster of the Justice League next to that because that was gonna be my centerpiece. Was like, yes, you can have. I'll have the all 6 members, and then I'll have I got the poster next to it, and now they're gonna get somebody new to play Superman, somebody new to play. Well, who knows Batman? I mean,
Yeah, we don't know on any of that stuff, so it'll
yeah,
be interesting to see who they cast on all those.
yeah.
So this is the Cavill, Superman, Batfleck, and Wonder Woman.
Yep.
All right, is that a Christopher Reeve Superman? I'm assuming.
Yep. Yep.
And then the Michael Keaton Batman.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming by how many Batmans are in this case, Batman is a favorite character.
Yeah. I mean, it's Superman. It kind of it's. I mean, it's a 1-2, but I think mainly because of the Christopher Reeve movies. I think I've always in the theme and everything. Just but Batman definitely. I think with the show I did with Jared with Sir Clifton Jared, yeah, a few weeks ago that I kind of showed my mainly my Keaton bat fandom, but at this Batfleck was so. I mean, with the looks of him, the Nightmare Batman and the tech armor, it all looked great. So I was like, and that suit that he had in BVS was so amazing. And again, I'm just heartbroken that we're not going to see any more of that. Really, after the Flash.
It was something different. I mean, it was a different take. I think that if they had left it alone and let Snyder do his original cut, it probably would have done better.
Yeah, I think, and
it totally was just disjointed at best.
Yeah, and I think they had a plan to, okay, we're gonna go through some darkness, but there's gonna be light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. So if they had just let that play out, then I think it would have been fine.
Yeah. All right, so this is obviously your Mando case.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, that's the and of course, you can go down a huge rabbit hole with Star Wars and Hot Toys. I mean, gosh.
Yeah. See, that's the thing that's good about Hot Toys is that none of them are the comic version, so I won't want them.
Right.
That's how I stay out of that line.
Yeah, that's good.
It's not a comic version for me. Now, are these plasma series or these Mezcos or what is this?
Man, it's crazy. Nobody can ever get. Even I think when I was on Mega J, he couldn't figure that that's the Diamond Select.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I hadn't seen the Diamond Select ones.
Yeah, and it's like they don't really get a lot of love. They came out and these kind of got me. These were kind of the gateway for me for 1/12 scale figures. I don't know where I don't know if I saw them online or something, but I mean, Real Ghostbusters was I mean, that was one of my huge franchises. I mean, that was something that I had like tons and tons of stuff, and I saw those like, okay, I got to get them. So yeah, I picked up.
They're good looking figures, and Diamond Select does great sculpts. Just some of their articulation leaves a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's I still haven't. I think Ray's knee. I think his left knee. I still can't. It's hard for me to get the full bend. So yeah,
that sucks. So above this, you have cups. Now you didn't send me a picture of the cups, and I told you we were going to talk about it in the pre-show. So you said these were what kind of cups again?
They're just like pint glasses, and with again DC. So have Superman, Batman, Aquaman, and the Flash, and more like their comic version. So
okay, so comic versions of this.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out why these two DSTs. Why they have. I guess it's been a while since I've watched the Real Ghostbusters. I don't remember the costumes being that far off, but I guess so.
Yeah.
From each other.
Oh yeah. And that's the thing. Egon and Winston had more kind of. Egon was a lighter blue, and Egon was a little bit darker, almost like gray. And then Pete and Ray were more on the brown side. Pete with darker browns, and Ray was supposed to be, I think, more movie accurate, but yeah.
And these are your Super 7s, right?
Yep.
Did you see Wave 2?
Yeah.
Did you buy Wave 2? Are you regretting it now?
It's pre-ordered. I mean, and Flint is one of my Flint and Destro, and it's like Destro. I mean, I think would be fine because I mean, he's got a shiny head, so I mean, he's supposed to have a shiny head, but with Flint, I'm like, oh man,
I've seen the Lady J and the Flint sculpts, and I'm
yeah,
just like, oh, that's awful. That is
yeah,
bad.
yeah. It's like, oh man, because
That's not
I
even.
mean,
That's
I
oof.
got him right here. I mean, this Duke here. I mean, wow, it was fine. I mean, it was painted. I mean, there's no real high gloss or sheen or anything. And then you see the you see the Flint and Lady J, and it's like, wow,
Yeah,
it's
rough. And your Super 7 Thundercats.
yep. And I think I've heard you talk about it before, and
Yeah,
you know myself too. Like I'm fine with that. I just need Mumra, and I can just he's on the back burner, but I'm fine with 4. Like I'm
yeah.
good.
It's I'll want Wily Kit and Wily Cat. I'll be done. I'm not getting a Snarf. I mean, realistically, I don't see spending $50 for a Snarf, and even vintage Snarf is $50.
Yeah, yeah.
The articulated one, I mean, you could get the cheapy one, the one that wasn't articulated that came with the original Lion-O, but I don't know that I want that one at that point. All right, so this Classics or Masterverse? This is Masterverse, right?
It's all Masterverse. Yeah,
Okay. So this is in a looks like more of like, is this behind you?
yeah. It's behind me.
Okay, so that's the one behind you. Okay.
Yeah, it took me a while to put it together, but yeah, it's like He-Man's always gonna be number 1, and so I wanted to put something to kind of appreciate them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of what we do with our displays. Is the things that are like really part of us,
Mm-hmm.
that are that integral thing, they're going to get a centerpiece.
Right.
They're going to be on display somewhere. It's my Joes. They're in my bedroom, on shelving. My bookcases in my bedroom. Why? Because that one has really big sentimentality for me. It's something that's
Yeah.
always, it's my favorite toy line.
Yeah, and
I see you got the new Ram Man and Clawful, and Paul Mart store got you.
Well, actually, Ram Man and Clawful were from BBTS. So.
Oh wow, okay. This is some more. So, did you ever get it on Classics?
No, I was on sabbatical as far as my toy collecting during that time, so I missed out completely on that. I think when I got back on, I think it was they had just released the Rebel Leader He-Man, like basically the 87 figures.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were one of the last few classics made. So yeah, I missed out on that whole deal. So, and I thought really on my to-do list, the only classics I want to get is just the I think they're just they're the Super 7 Ultimate He-Man and Ultimate Skeletor. So
I want to get I do want to get the Mantenna. If they don't make a good Mantenna for Masterverse, that's the one I would want. Just because it's weird, and it's, for whatever reason, I like the weird characters. I don't understand it. I always have. It's just where I gravitate to.
About you.
The odder, the better. So this is kind of all of us as collectors. We have this thing where we don't have space to put everything up. So what do you do with it?
I thought I was the only one, so I'm not the only one.
No, you're not the only one. No. Mine are in boxes, not in plastic tubs. But I don't have very many. But the ones that I took down, like my MCU figures, all of them are pretty much in a box. So, all right. So that's everything in this one. All right.
Yeah, funny thing about that too, about the way I was keeping those is I read online because I used to keep them in Ziploc bags. My first the first bin I had of Joe's, and mixture of other Hasbro figures. And I was looking online. I was like, I was reading things like, oh, you shouldn't put them in Ziploc bags because it could deteriorate. You could mess up the paint or mess up over time. And so I had to I was like, oh shoot. So I went on Amazon and bought like these I think non-oil based, or I forgot they're a particular kind of bag, but I never had to take everything out and then put them in these. So I was like, I don't know if that was just a, if that's a true thing or not, or if that's just fake news. But
honestly, they're in plastic. In if they're not in that, they're in a box in plastic. So let's maybe not. Who knows?
Yeah,
I mean, it's one of those things that it's plastic. It's not paper that's going to get acid in it. So
yeah,
you might have to get acid-free plastic. I don't know how that works. Whatever that all that is. Oh well, Adam says he has extra space. Send all your toys to him. PM him for an address. Okay.
Really? I've seen his background. He's got a ton of where it's
Yeah,
like.
apparently he's got more space. So, all right. So we're gonna go back here and we're gonna talk about your childhood toy lines.
Oh
So
man.
kind of give me like, let's say, top 3 childhood toy lines, because
I mean, definitely He-Man. That's man. It's, well, how about if I give you 4? Because I know I can. I know
that's
4.
fine. You can give me 4. That's all
So
right. We can
so
expand it. I just try to give it to 3 because most
yeah.
people have trouble when they
Well,
start saying 4 or 5. And they're like, I think it'd be fine.
well, technically, He-Man and G.I. Joe, they're like 1A, 1B. They're like, on any
Right there
given
next to
day,
each other. Yeah.
I could swap them out. And then Real Ghostbusters, and then the Turtles. And how I know that is because if you, well, I'll stick with that. I was gonna go with another one, but I was like, well, I was thinking Superpowers collection DC, but I'll leave it with those 4. But
Well, you can go
if
with superpowers. I mean, but technically those were all before you were born. Or, well, I
no,
guess it
84,
would have been 3 or 4, right?
yeah, yeah.
So 84, 85, 86, somewhere
Yeah.
there.
I think 85 is probably when I was like when I was more kind of, I guess, conscious and played with, figures a lot more.
Yeah.
But I know He-Man, I was carrying those around. Those were simply like my baby toys. I mean, pretty much. I mean, I had a He-Man figure, that's the first time I remember having it in my hand when I was little. But yeah, if you looked at my toy room, if you put everything in piles, those were the ones that had the big piles. I mean, I had 1 or 2 sectars. I had one Centurion. I only had Lion-O and Mumra from the original line. And then just a handful of just other lines, just maybe core characters or just onesie twosies. But I mean, those 4 were like, yes, I had the figures, had the play sets, had the vehicles, had everything, that you could think of with those particular lines. So that's how I know I can kind of make a good case for all of those.
So you shared on Discord at one point that you found all of your parents pulled out all of your childhood toys. What was that like?
I mean, it was just, I mean, I've been telling my parents and my mom and kind of letting her know that, oh, I'm doing this, Instagram thing. I'm kind of just getting back into collecting and all this. Like, oh, well, you have so much stuff you said you have some stuff at the house. If you want to come over and get some of it, like, okay, that's fine. I'll plan a trip out there one of these days, here, and I'll go in there. And I went out there, and she's like, yeah, it's up in your old room. So I already took some of the boxes out, so you can just go through it. So I go up there, and it's like I never left.
Yeah.
I mean, everything
was there.
Everything was there. My closet. I mean, where I left all my boxed in Power of the Force vehicles. The Millennium Falcon. ATST, the AT-AT. I mean, all that stuff is still in there. I mean, they're boxed up, but they're loose, but they're boxed. If that makes any sense. And a bag full of just like loose figures, ranging from superpowers to masters to GI Joes to turtles. I mean, everything just in this gym bag. Another box full of just everything that I had. I mean, and all my old play sets were still in there. The had one that I didn't even know what it was growing up. The Dungeons and Dragons one.
Grimsword or
Oz. He saw it in the back. I took a picture of my garage. Like, look at all this stuff, and then he's like, "Oh man, there's the it was like a green dragon. What do you call it? I forgot the name of the place that he said, but like I never knew what that was. I used to use it as a as a Skeletor headquarters.
Yeah. There's I think it's always interesting when we find Thanos says the Fortress of Fangs. Is that what it is?
That's what it is. Yeah.
So that was the playset. Yeah, that was a cool playset. And Jeremy J is asking if were they loose but complete.
Yeah. I mean, the especially Power of the Force, because that's when I was like a teenager. It was like mid '90s when those came out. So I was smart enough to I was kind of in that mindset where I wanted to keep my boxes, even after I got the sets, and I was way too old. It was more or less just, again, that that early phase of collecting, but still kind of being
Yeah,
like
that
a
prospecting collecting is what I like to call that.
yeah, but
I think
also
we
kind
all
of have
got in on that craze right around Power of the Force 2 for some whatever reason. We'd been so starved for Star Wars figures for a very long time. A lot of
yeah,
us 70s and 80s, that was like it was right there. It was we got to have those Star Wars figures. We
yeah,
got the vehicles. Because for me, when I was getting that stuff, it was more of I'm going to get all the vehicles that I couldn't get as a kid because I have adult money to
yeah,
purchase these things that I couldn't get as a kid.
yeah, and
So that was kind of one of those nice things about that. I
mhm.
mean, I sold it all last year, but yeah, last year, but I don't miss it. It was a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
mean,
stuff.
for me, it was more. I mean, it was more like because my dad, he was at that point we were because he's a collector at heart too, whether it's
Yeah,
coins or anything. I think that's where I get that gene from, I guess, or that
yeah,
particular trait from my dad. Because yeah, just whatever it is that's there to collect, he'll collect it. And I guess at that time we did see that the vintage Star Wars was worth something. And he's like, well,
yeah,
man, it's like if those are worth money, then maybe we should get these that are just coming out and save them. Save the box. I mean, yeah, if you want to take it out and display it or whatever, that's fine, but keep the box. You always say just keep the box.
yeah, yeah. It was there was a lot of us that did prospecting at that point, as I like to call it. Um, so you said there was kind of a lull in your collecting.
Yeah, yeah.
What brought you back?
I don't. I think it's in all of us, and I don't know if other people have gone through little patches of like, you know what, I don't need to be doing this anymore. Because again, well, for me, it was like again, it was during that time when I was collecting Power of the Force. I was a teenager, getting into high school, and it's kind of like it was like a stigma. Like nobody was just like, what you still have toys in your room? What like you kind of just like it was just one of those things where it's like I couldn't meet like the right people, in school or wherever it was to just say, "Oh yeah, that's cool." Everybody I
Yeah,
was around was kind of like, "Oh man, you still collect toys?" And I was like,
yeah.
"Man, that's stupid." You know what? It's like, yeah, that's
I think
so
that's a lot of what that even as an adult we get that, for lack of a better word, shame,
yeah, yeah. I
as
mean,
if
that's
there's something wrong with what we're doing, and we kind of have to fight that.
yeah,
Now we kind of insulate ourselves with a group of people that are like-minded, but the thing is there's nothing to be ashamed of about what we do. What we do it because it makes us happy.
mhm,
We do it because it brings us joy, and we do it in some ways to connect with our kids.
yeah,
For some people, it's a great way to connect with their kids. Now, my kids, they weren't really toy players. So my daughter was, but honestly, I'm not going out and collecting Bratz dolls. It's not my thing.
Hey, but that Brat's convertible though, man.
My daughter had one of those. So she had one before it was a
you,
meme.
you see that everywhere, man. It's like
Yeah.
I almost want to get one, but it's like,
Yeah, I didn't. Nah, pass on that one. So, I find it interesting. You mentioned turtles is in your top four, but do you have any representative turtles in your collection?
no, because again, that's it. It came, I guess, because maybe because I think Turtles came where everything was kind of like on the downswing.
Mm,
GI Joe was kind of it was like 88, 89. I think is when I got the Turtles, and He Man was pretty much like
yeah, He-Man was gone.
out. Ghostbusters was kind of wrapping up. I mean, it was like Ghostbusters and Turtles were kind of like my 1-2 at that point. They were kind of because Turtles was something I never really seen before. They were kind of like, oh man, what is this? Like these Ninja Turtles, what? And I really just went all in on that. But it's just something that it just never. For some reason, it just doesn't hold a significant feeling now as an adult. Like I see
Mm,
them and I'm like, okay, that's I appreciate like maybe I would get like a Casey Jones Super 7 figure because I mean that for
mm,
some reason he's always been I think because I would use him as a Jason figure because there was no Jason
yeah.
at that time, so I would use
Well,
him to kind of
now you
hunt
can get a Jason figure.
and so he kind of was like one of my favorites. If I had a favorite turtle figure, it would be Casey Jones. But yeah, I mean, I don't have any of that in my collection. But I guess because I think truly maybe I've grown out of those. I mean, or they don't really have any real. sentiment value, other than just, yeah, I just had a bunch of them as a kid, but I've never really revisited them.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. So obviously, you collect the lines that we've kind of gone over with your collection, but there's other stuff that you collect too, like Mondo
Mhm.
Masters as well, not just Masterverse. Any other figures in your collections?
Haven't gone too deep with Mythic. I've dipped my toe, just very, very gently in that
Be
pool.
careful. That's
Yeah, I mean, it's just the tip
yeah.
of that toe in that pool. Just haven't
I
gone all the
keep
way.
saying this. I'm dipping my toes, but it ain't dipping my toes no more.
Yeah, I mean, it just
It's
like I
not. It's not.
yeah, yeah.
It's not. It's not dipping my toes no more. It was. It
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
See, and Black Knight can help you out. That he can help you change that. Just do more than dipping your toes. Oh, see, Nolan knows. The kids always act like they're embarrassed about the collection, but when their friends see it, they're always like, "Wow, so cool!" Yeah, see,
yeah,
something changed along the way that we got the kids that they're okay with doing it because it's. I think we have so much pop culture now.
yeah,
It's,
yeah,
all
exactly.
of that stuff that we kind of countercultured with is now common.
Hmm.
So I think it's kind of we had that kind of reversal. So for me, I mean, I don't care if anybody knows about my toys. My stuff's public. My name's on my stuff. It's whatever. If they
Yeah.
want to talk about it, we'll talk about it. And I use it to make my life a lot easier.
Oh yeah, that's always
So,
important.
any collection rules? So, what I mean by collection rules are things that this is the line. I'm not crossing this line. This is as far as I go. Those kind of things.
Man, oh gosh, I'm a definite rule breaker because it's just I've tried to set boundaries and set those limits, but it's hard. For me, Joe, right, GI Joe, and when they I had nothing with classified until recently, but when I saw, I think it was like in 2021, I think, when the Ultimates first went up on pre-order,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw those, like, oh man, it's great. Sunbow accurate. I mean, that's like, I mean, Cobra Commander looks awesome. Duke looks awesome. I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and pre-order those and get those. I'm not even gonna mess with classifieds because I mean, I'd seen them and they looked awesome. And like, these are the ones I'm gonna get. But as time went, as months went on, and a year, and they still hadn't come out. I'm seeing more and more photos and just stuff coming out with classifieds. I just said, well, let me get Flint, because Flint's always been, one of my favorites,
Mm-hmm.
and Cobra Commander. I can just have them two. Oh, and then that kind of just,
Mm-hmm.
that was a huge. I mean, that was a slippery, slippery slope. I mean, that
Yeah, it
just
was for
like,
me as well. I mean, it
I mean,
started off with yeah.
I
Mine
mean,
was like, you know what? I was gonna, I was gonna get a couple figures, and originally when I started back collecting in January of 2022. I said I was just gonna get a few.
yep.
Within a month, I had all of the classifieds that were available.
Hmm.
Then I went to 25th, 30th, and 50th anniversary GI Joe 4-inch ones. Those are what are up on the wall. And then I went from that to getting some DC figures from Multiverse, and then I went to that. It's there's a spiral that I keep
Yeah.
trying to figure out why, but I know kind of why I go where I go. I mean, I wouldn't have thought if you had asked me in 2022 if I was going to do Mythic Legions, I would have told you you're out of your damn mind. It just I like fantasy. It's just
Yeah.
not my preferred. I like science fiction fantasy. That's kind of where He-Man and Motu was always that
It's
nice
perfect.
balance of both because there was science fiction there and then there was fantasy elements.
Oh yeah, perfect blend. I
It's
mean,
it's just like Star Wars,
yeah.
science fiction, fantasy elements.
Yep. Yep.
Now, most of your stuff I see is out of boxes. Am I assuming there is no in-box collection?
No, no. I mean,
Where
unless I
you
get a
changed
dupe.
from your childhood, you're no longer inboxing.
Well, I mean, for childhood, that was more well for vintage. See, we were actually buying some vintage stuff at that time too.
Hmm.
When I was getting back into collecting as a preteen and a teenager, and I would keep those just because we'd buy a couple of vintage Star Wars figures or a couple of vintage superpowers and keep them in their cards or in their boxes or
Hmm.
whatever. But even the other stuff I had, I would always open it up because I'd want to have it out, but I would
Yeah.
keep put it back in its box when I was done with it. Nowadays, like I mean, and that is a habit that I still recently just broke, was keeping the boxes like that. That's just an old habit because all my Masterverse boxes I still have in a giant box, 2 boxes actually. I mean, I don't.
Oh, I can sympathize. Literally all of my action figure boxes, unless it's custom.
Yeah,
That's when I'll throw the box out. When I make a custom, I throw the box out. I'll cut it up, take the plastic out for use as a paint tray,
yeah.
and then I will cut off the back of the box and then whatever else can go in the trash. And that's the only time I'm throwing out boxes right now, which is really bad because my attic now is boxes of boxes.
I know, and it's just like it just never ends. But I mean, recently I started getting like all my GI Joe stuff. I was throwing the boxes away, and then again that was a really really hard thing to do. I don't even know why. I mean, it's just
Isn't it
something that
strange that's where we kind of struggle with that? I
yeah
mean, we know it's just trash,
yeah. I mean, I'm
but
not going to
is
display
it
it.
is it the holding on to it because we're afraid that if we don't have it, it's not complete?
It's something like that, or if I ever want to sell them, but if really, I mean, I can always sell it loose. I mean, because is somebody really going to want a box of a figure that's already been opened and that's been like in you? I mean, eh,
For some
eh,
people, I guess having the box is just as important. I mean, with the plastic-free stuff on the classifieds, I don't really need those boxes.
you're right.
I was
Yeah,
buying two of at least two of every figure for the ones that had the blister packs,
yeah,
which you could see the big figure. But when they went to that other way, I stopped buying two of every figure. I get
right.
one. Now, troop builders, I go a little crazy, and then that's just me. See, Jeremy says you can still sell it loose but complete.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm just if everything's in the baggie, you can just here you go.
Jeremy's not plugging his show loose but complete at all, but I will plug it for him. Now, in plugging, I must do my obligatory one time a show shameless plug. Frenzy, come join us. John is a member. We're all there. Come on, you
Yep.
can come in. We don't bite. Well, maybe.
Maybe it went after dark. Yep.
It is possible after dark that may occur. I am not saying nothing. So, I have a question.
Yep.
What did you pick up this week?
Well, I don't think I have them here. Yeah, picked up Chasm from the Indiana Jones Adventures.
Really?
Yeah. Let me. I can go pick them up real quick.
All right. Well, I will show off her. Got her in yesterday or today,
Also.
and I got him today,
Oh, nice.
and I got him today. And of course, I still have my head pack that I just got from the other day.
I saw that. Yeah, that's awesome. And then that's one thing about Mythic that I'm like, oh man, being able to customize them is in a so easy way. It's kind of
My only complaint of Mythics overall, I mean, is the little bitty wrist pegs.
yeah.
Other than that, I don't really have any complaints, and it's not like a huge issue, but it does create some issues, like with this Varg that or not Varg, Valak, like when his bird is on his arm,
Mm-hmm.
even pushing that thing all the way back because the bird is attached to a little thing on his forearm.
Right. Yeah.
And it attaches to the forearm,
Okay.
and it goes over the wrist bracer that's already on there. And for whatever reason, that wrist peg does not stay in very well. Man, forget it. I'll fight with it later. But that's my only thing. It's bad. But overall, but the rest was great. Ah, Kazim.
Yeah, I mean, if you would have told me, that I would have, back in '89 when I first saw it in theaters, that, oh yeah, I'd had this version of him. I'm like, I mean, again, for me, it's more, I think, a photography aspect.
Oh yeah, I love the suit.
Yeah,
That
I
looked
mean, he
cool.
looks like really. I mean, he looks like the actor. I mean, they
Yeah,
really put him together. And I could probably even just customize. I could probably just take the head off and then make it a use this use it. You put a different head on it as a
yeah.
as a thug in a suit. So yeah, that's a you know, and I usually don't get lucky when it comes to like going to Target and seeing the new releases come out, because I got him and the Obi-Wan indie in the white suit. So,
Yeah.
and then this one came. I finally was able to pick this the gold standard Robin, the Dick Grayson Robin.
My only thing about that one is the ankles are awful.
Yeah, I mean, he is such a pain to stand up. I did.
Well, because it's the same figure that they put out with the girl.
Yeah, from the Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, so it's the same figure, and those ankles, oh, they're bane of my existence. Make me crazy.
Yeah, I did a little. I took a couple photos with him, and yeah, he's such a pain of to stand. But again, this version of Robin, like a kid Robin, even though it is kind of when you think about it, it's kind of suspect. Why would a grown man have a have a preteen boy in an outfit like this? But it's like,
Yeah.
it's just
Well, you know what? It was a different time. It was more innocent.
exactly. Yeah, I don't. I mean,
They didn't think about that.
yeah, I think would be weirder though is when you look at the Super Friends and Superpowers collection, where he's supposed to be. I guess he's not this. Okay, it's like, yeah, he's a kid, but then when you see I guess he's supposed to be a teenager or a little bit
He
older.
late
Yeah,
teenager, I guess.
he's almost the same height as Batman. It's like that's a little bit, that gets a little suspect. But that classic version of Robin with the yellow with the green tights, that's always going to be my.
Jeremy's asking where he can get that. I'm assuming you got that from McFarlane store or somewhere, a secondary.
No, your CMD got. I found him at.
Oh, okay. CMD store.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, cool.
yeah, found him on there.
Oh, okay. I'm surprised. I obviously haven't checked their McFarlane stock, but probably wasn't too much more than retail. But you never know.
No, I mean, again, I haven't. I mean, it's either that or eBay. Like I mean, eBay's like,
Yeah, no. Evil Bay is evil. There's a reason it's called Evil Bay.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was like, when I saw him, I know the shipping get kind of high with them, but with the price that they had it with the shipping, like I'll go ahead and do it.
Yeah, they on average, I think it's about $3-4, but their shipping is like you're not getting a discounted shipping. It's
right.
A flat rate. It's not a flat rate shipping. It's you're paying shipping that it would cost to normally ship it. If you were shipping it out.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but I got my Robin, so I'm happy.
Cool. So we're going to talk about how you play with your toys, and I am going to show people some photos that I have. Give me a second to pull it up. All right, there we go. We're going to share this. Now, for those people who don't know, this is, Sergeant Slaughter and Falcon. This is obviously replaying the scene from the movie.
Yeah. Yep. As soon as I got Falcon, like, oh, I got to do something with him in the stars, because I mean, that's just. I know the movie gets a bad rap, but man, I love it. It's
it has a charm to it.
Yeah,
it does. I think it kind of went off the rails a little bit, but that's kind of what happens. That's kind of the way Joe was. If you really look at it, all of the best things that G.I. Joe did was when they were doing the miniseries, and look at how batshit crazy that stuff is.
Exactly. I mean, there was
the fatal fluffies. I mean, really?
Yep.
That wasn't the first clue that this stuff was going to go off the rails.
Yep. I mean, they had giant eels. I mean, synthoids. I mean, it's just there was elements of fantastical elements there. I mean, so these these otherworldly creatures, or these this other race of that developed Cobra Law and everything. So I mean, I didn't have a problem with it. So
now I really like the Zartan picture. I know that's a backdrop, but
Mhm.
I like the lighting, like the composition there.
Yeah, and that was the technique I'd seen some people use. And basically, I got a piece of glass to get that blue light to kind of come out that way. I just basically placed it flat and set up a like a rectangle piece of glass on top of that, and
Uh-huh.
then was able to get the light to come down, and then
Straight
kind of
down.
just yep,
Yeah.
and kind of it kind of did do a little bit of diffusion on there, but again, not same as Plug, but diorama prints. I mean, they do a lot of great work, and I'm a
Yeah.
big supporter of them.
Well,
And
I mean,
sorry,
they do. I've seen a few of the backdrops, and they look fantastic.
yeah. And Zartan really is hard to photograph just because he's got that hood, so you really
That
gotta
hood
get
makes it
that.
really weird. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one of those things about him that's just and it doesn't stay on well. So if you
Yeah.
just like barely touch him, he like flops it.
Exactly, yeah.
So
Yeah, this was
here's
one that
I like this. This is cool. You got
yeah.
yourself some of those trash cans to kind of give it a alleyway look.
Yeah, yeah, and I know we were talking about the whole city deal, but it's like, well, I mean, it's like I
It
mean,
works here. I mean, it
yeah.
works here. It's fine.
I mean, Vipers are there just, they're probably smuggling guns or something like that, or they're probably
Well,
on
honestly, if you were going to use Cobra a white way, the right way for modern times. They should be a paramilitary organization that does like they go in and do mop up jobs,
yeah, exactly, yeah.
or they do security enforcement.
Right, yeah.
And this is the roadblock. I do love the way that the light works in this. Now
Mhm.
is that's a backdrop, right?
That's a backdrop, and
This
then
is
with custom trees that I made out of paper towel rolls.
okay. And you talked about the paper towel rolls with when we were on Oz's show
Yeah.
together. It's a really simple thing, and I use it too. I make some tree rolls with that as well.
Hmm. Yeah,
It
when you get down
helps.
to it, it's simple. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Now this isn't Joe, but I do. I like a good photo. I'm nothing wrong with it. But I like the way the eyes are glowing, and they all kind of have that kind of ethereal look to them.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
that
it's
was
something
one that
different.
I mean, as soon as I got Grizzlor, I'm like, bam. I mean, I got the big three really from the horde. I mean, that was so I gotta do something with the three of them. That's the one Grizzlor. I think he was one of my favorites as a kid. I don't know, maybe it's that fur, but
As long as you didn't put Grizzlor in the slime pit, you were good.
oh yeah, definitely. I mean, he
Yeah,
was going nowhere near that.
Grizzlor, Spike Orc, never in the slime pit.
Exactly, yeah, but yeah, I had an idea real quick. I was like, "Yep, I'll go ahead and just grab a shot with them real quick." And that backdrop is just a terrarium, I guess. It's like
Terrarium, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
simple
get
again.
those and I put them on foam board.
Yeah, yeah, very very simple,
Yeah,
very quick and easy.
quick, quick and dirty, quick and easy. Now this one's got a little bit more involved. Obviously, this is Casket of Cruelty stuff, right?
I think it was actually the accessories from my Sub Zero or Scorpion
Okay.
Storm collectible, but yeah, just blood effect. Yeah, just
Did you use wax to hold that on, or
yeah. I used I think for this one I started using museum wax because it's clear, so it's a
yeah?
little bit easier to kind of blend in and then to digitally get rid of. But again, this was an idea that I was just like, you know
Comes
what?
with the clear wax.
Yeah. I mean, it's just something that's what the brothers would do, I mean,
Oh yeah,
they're
absolutely.
sadistic, and he's, my actual caption, he's like, "Look, brother, I'm not even looking," and they're just like, "Ha ha 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 ha," and just like they would just, yeah, they're just gonna go after.
Actually, more like they would be arguing with each other, and just one of them would just turn and shoot the guy and walk away.
Yeah, that too, yeah, they would be like,
Now this is a good one with Dusty and
Spirit, yeah,
and Freedom.
yeah.
Now that
His ego is a little bit easier to kind of put on. So
is that a now is this an extreme set
no,
corner?
that's diorama prints, yeah.
Okay, so they have full corner pieces.
Yeah, yeah. The way they're put together is, you have your floor, your bottom piece, and then you have like two panels, or you
Yeah.
can just use one. But
Okay.
I end up getting their display base just because it's so much easier to set up. So I just it's like three pieces of I mean, wood, and then you just they got sections in there we can like put them together, and there's like a little clip piece at the top at the corners to hold it all together. And then at that point, I just take like a paper clip little binder deal, and just take
Yeah.
each panel and just like clip it on top, and then I'm good to go. But you can make like a full like kind of corner section like that.
Do you use any rigging on your lights? Do you may have like a little overhang that goes
Yeah,
over the top of those to?
I recently upgraded to a Loom Cube panel, so
Okay.
I bought the set of two. So a lot of times I may have just one just like kind of just over the top like that, and
Okay.
then it gives it like it kind of gives it a nice even soft light. It's kind of just light everything up, and then I can come in from the underneath it and give little kind of like the one little
So
bit of
you'll set it on glass sometimes and then
sometimes,
shoot from
yeah.
underneath. Okay.
Yep, and then
Okay.
just have a little bit like blue light or yellow light for whatever. So
Now this is another Sarge and Falcon pick, but it's always interesting because I really wish we would get more like straight hands, or
yeah, and
even completely balled up fist hands, so that way you could do push up
yeah.
realistically. It's
Everybody comment on that. It's always doing. Hey, Falcon's tough, man. He's doing it on his fingers. It's like, it's like,
yeah, you do it on a single finger too. That's even worse. Now this is classic Gung Ho and Stalker.
yeah. I finally got my hands on Gung Ho. I was just like, just not. I had the first one. I ended up getting rid of them because I was like, that's the one I wanted. So
Okay, I was trying to figure out what the light was on this, and then I realized it's a silencer. Got it. Okay. I was like, is he holding something yellow? Just the lighting. Obviously, here's the ladies.
yeah, gotta show the ladies some love.
I like the dark. I like the way the light's bouncing off of it. The way it looks.
Yeah, and just again, it's just another use of glass, just kind of get that kind of even kind of fill light in there.
Okay. Well, hang on, we're gonna pull up some other stuff. So give me a second to get to that. All right. Share screen. Share screen. Oh, window. There we go. All right. I do love the lightsaber work. Now,
Yep.
are you hand drawing that on there?
No,
Over the lightsaber itself?
no, I found a pretty good tutorial online. Basically, it's just it's a so there's a way in Photoshop to make a straight line, and just from home, I think it's Shift or Command, but no, it's just a white line right over the lightsaber, as using the lightsaber as a guide, and then from there I just use about 6 or 7 layers on top of that or copies of that same white like kind of white line, and then
Okay.
I'll do a Gaussian blur, different variations over each one, and just kind of just go from like 200% to 100%, 50, 40, 20, 10, and then get all the way down, and then it's just a matter of merging the layers and then blending it, and then changing the hue and the saturation. Then
Yeah, okay.
that's how you can get that kind of glow effect.
I do kind of like the mashup. Power Rangers. Red
Uh,
Hulk works.
that was me just messing around. I was like, and if you go, that one does have just a quick little BTS shot of my setup. So yeah, that's pretty much.
See, and that's the good thing. And that's one of the things that I like about your stuff is you will occasionally do some behind the scenes, so we kind of get an idea of how it goes and how you're getting it set up and what it looks like, and kind of gives some of us who are not quite as good as you are at yours.
I'm really not that good.
You're better than me, better than most. You and Thanos are the two guys that do the photos that I see most frequently. So, obviously I get, other people, but I do like your little, oh, they're all got the same arm messed up.
Yeah, Karn actually, yeah, that was a little bit of paper rock scissors, like
Yeah. I mean, but it looks cool. It's a nice, Thanos is saying he doesn't have any idea what he's doing. You know what? It worked out fine for you. You must
Yeah,
not
yeah.
know. Well, hey, I don't know any better than you, but my stuff
And
turned out
and
okay.
and that's the thing. It's just everybody. It's just a learning. I don't think anybody really wants to claim, "Oh, I know what I'm doing. I'm a pro. I'm a pro
Yeah.
photographer. This and that." Like, no, I think everybody's just having fun and just enjoy doing this and being able to play with their toys.
See, and there's nothing wrong with playing with our toys. I mean,
Nope.
that's the cool part. I do like your Storm collectibles here.
Yeah, yeah. I was that was one of the first ones I was taking photos of. Like my Sub Zero, and again, I have that pinned at the top. You can see a recent Sub Zero photo, and then my very first toy photography photo, and it's like, uh, again, you just, as long as you know keep working and trying to learn new things. I mean, because again, I can't stand looking at some old photos because I'm just like, oh gosh, that's it was so horrible. It's like,
But that's kind of the whole thing is that I think a lot of us, this creative outlet of toys, the things that we're doing, like for me, it's customs, and I do
mhm,
occasionally like to do photo setups. I
yeah.
mean, I don't do as many as I would, love to, but I get to do a few here and there. Like the other day, I did one for Memorial Day with
Mhm.
Sarge saluting.
Yep.
I mean, it wasn't complicated. It wasn't hard. I just did a quick setup, and there it was. But you got stuff like this where you've got some more elements where you're doing kind of like a blades crossing, flashing, and then you got the eyes flashing. I mean, it's an interesting thing. And here's your Batmobile with your Keaton bat.
Hmm.
See, and yours doesn't look, yeah. See, in that light, it looks fine, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It looks
Again,
like there's a different canopy color.
yeah. It's just on how you play with it. I didn't do any kind of post work. I just, again, just how you light it. I mean, just it can help it.
Now, we didn't talk much about Black Series, but we know you have some Black Series because
Yeah,
obviously, or at least TVC, one of the two.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
Definitely Black
assuming Black
Series.
Series, though.
Yeah, Black Series. Again, that's one that Star Wars, another line that I was hugely into that I just couldn't. I'm just, I don't have a toe in. I got an a foot in, but I mean, definitely. Um, yeah, I haven't gone too in depth with. I just got a couple core things from Mandalorian. So
Well, I love this picture. I, I shouldn't, but I do. But it's just something different. It's
yeah.
something different, not relative to the others. It's kind of an action shot. You
Yeah,
got
and that's the great thing. The photography group I'm in, Geeked Out Click, a lot of great photographers on there, a lot of really good conversations, and we do weekly collabs, and that was one of them. And that's what's great because when you can do challenges or collabs, and it kind of just pushes you like, oh, let me think of something. And this one was our fatality collab, and I just uh, Bane's the only one that I feel. I mean, and the reason I really focus on that was because I know I can take his arms off. Because any
yeah,
other figure, I was not trying to really take his arms off. So I was like, I can do that, and see how
yeah.
that comes out. And
It's
that
a lot
really,
easier on those McFarlane Build-A-Figures to pop those arms off, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. So I was like, I didn't feel comfortable with that with any other figure doing that. So
And
and
here's your Mythic Legion's toe dipping.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, Romulus. I mean, when I saw him, I was like, okay, I mean, because for
There's,
me, it's
there's
more the human characters, the knights,
yeah,
the gladiators. That really is my that suits my fancy as far as mythics. It's like I
yeah.
think
Mine is I like the animals and I do like the knights up to a certain point. When we get to start getting to Templars and other stuff like that, it's just kind of. And I'm not big on the skeletons. I
yeah,
know Oz loves the skeletons, but it's not my thing, and that's okay. We can all not like the same things,
yeah,
and that's
yeah.
how this works.
That's perfectly fine. Yeah,
This is another one shot with Obi-Wan. There's a lot of little things that people don't realize that go into the photography that you know you obviously put everything that you're doing here. I do love
yeah,
the Cyclops with the light. Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah. And that's, I mean, again, very. And it kind of shows my collection. I mean, at first it was kind of strictly all Motu because that's kind of what I was collecting. But then you can see I mean, it kind of
There's
changed.
levels, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Well,
okay.
I think we all end up with that kind of somewhat eclectic thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's I think it's just kind of what we gravitate, because this kind of ties into the question that I'm going to ask you. So it works for you. So what draws you to a figure? What makes you say, I have to get that figure?
Well, I mean, since we have Cyclops here, is more or less because I was a big fan of the cartoon, and I mean, anything that's accurate to something that I'm watching, I think is something I want to get. So whether it's Hot Toys or Super Seven or Hasbro, I think just having something that represents something that I enjoyed watching as a kid or even as an adult, that I gotta have that. That's why it was so hard with Mandalorian, seeing so many, seeing Bo-Katan take a real, a
So
real
cool.
larger role in the last season. And like, okay, I gotta get something from her. What can I get? And I was thinking about getting a hot toy of her. I
Mhm.
was like, I refrained and then I settled on getting a black series of her. But I
But
think just
it would tie in with your Mandalorian's shelf pretty well.
exactly, yeah. I mean, just
So I think you're probably safe there. It just might damage your wallet a little more than you want.
yeah, yeah, but I think just for me, pleasing of the eye as far as like seeing something that is truly representative of something that I've seen, um, you know, on the screen or in the or in some sort of media. But that is something that I think that's what draws me to the figure. And Cyclops is always he, Wolverine's always been my favorite. That's just a go-to. It's just like a default. But Cyclops, and especially that look of him in the anime show, he just looks so awesome. Like you could tell, like okay, he's the leader of the X-Men, and that's
Yeah,
something
the
like
Jim Lee aesthetics were really,
yep.
yeah. It
That
was,
not that early '90s, yeah.
yeah.
Same with anything with DC as well. Like just anything that '90s kind of you know
Too many pouches, big guns. Yeah, that
yep.
whole 90s.
Yeah, that Hush Batman, or even though he was more in the later in the
Yeah, he was.
2000s, like, he looks. Yeah, I knew I had to pick him up.
Yeah, they showed that Nightfall Batman,
Hmm.
and I looked at it, but I didn't like the way that diaphragm cut on it. It looks weird.
For me, it's the ears. It's like and the same with the Keaton Batman. Like the ears, like I'm kind of I missed out on him on McFarlane because he's all sold out now. But I'm like, maybe that's a good thing. But I know probably in a few months,
I
as soon
just
as
mine's in my Batmobile. I don't ever have to see the ears, so it doesn't bother me as much.
yeah.
But I mean, I have one that I want. Um, so we were kind of briefly talking about um, your childhood lines, and your favorite all time lines were GI Joe and Motu.
Mhm.
What made them stand out for you? What is
Well,
this is cool. This is cool for Little John. Little John when he was little. What made those cool?
well, I mean, I guess for He-Man, because he was first. I think just the look of look of the draw, he was first. But no, I think uh, just that whole again, I was probably like 3, 4 years old, somewhere around there, and just that overload of the show. And then you're getting at that time, Shira was coming out, so it's like you're getting like this double whammy of this whole, this giant world building of this of sword and sorcery and sci-fi elements coming together. And it was just like for me it's like the perfect blend. I really just got into it. I'd seen Conan, even though I probably shouldn't have at that age, but I did see Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer. So again, all that, that muscle and just like that sword, swords clashing and all that was just kind of just something that was just, just drew me in. I was
Mm,
just um again, just the fantastical elements about it were something that I really, enjoyed. And then for GI Joe, I think it's just that base kind of boy, at least for me, mentality of like just army men, just
yeah,
being in the army, guns and find the bad guy. Um, I will say though, similar to He-Man, you're getting this overload of the show, commercials, comics, whatever, and that was the same thing with GI Joe. It's just like I was so gravitated gravitated to the show that really, I mean, I had a lot of figures, but I was like, I mean, the show was kind of like my favorite, and then I would just like continue that on with the figures. But yeah, I think that was pretty much what kind of got me. Just like again, sword and sorcery, sci-fi with He-Man, and then
Mhm.
army guns, blowing stuff up with GI Joe. And it's funny because it's like I've been watching episodes of both shows, and there are times with He-Man that can kind of get kind of more times than not. I mean, I can go back and enjoy them, but there are some episodes where you're kind of like, is this almost over? Whereas Joe, I mean, they're completely rewatchable. I
Yeah.
mean, for some reason, there was
There's
a
some episodes of that Joe show that are a little bit rough to get through, but it's not. It's
it,
not definitely. He-Man did not age as well in my mind, and I've
yeah,
watched both recently as well as GI Joe's did. And
yeah.
I
I mean,
don't
because
know if that was just there's some cheesiness to both of them, but the He-Man just went over the top with the cheesiness kind of thing, and I think
sometimes, yeah, yeah.
that was kind of where it gets me when I go back to watch it as an adult. I'm like, it's okay, but
Mhm.
yeah, I'm kind of like you. I get through a scene and I'm just like, how much longer is this one on? Can I skip to
Yeah.
the next one?
And that's the thing with Joe. I mean, there's some, but there are some episodes in there where they don't really play down to the audience. They don't pretend like, oh, so this is a
Oh yeah,
kids show, so let's play down, let's play to kids. No, I mean, there's episodes in there where one in particular where the fight with Cobra and Joe's coming home. As far as like, there's a civilian who's taken upon himself because, hey, GI Joe, our house is destroyed, this and that. You know what is this fight with Cobra doing? I
yeah.
mean, so he's taking upon himself to infiltrate Cobra and take out Cobra Commander himself, and he realizes, well, yeah, there is a place for GI Joe, but yeah, there were a lot of serious and and I think maybe the punching also, that was kind of the other thing. I mean, it's like it, it was kind of
Yeah,
like,
there was a lot of the couldn't do certain things at the time because of
well,
standard.
when you see with He-Man, I mean, he's tossing people, and he's kind of like
Yeah,
doing things like this. With Joe, I mean, they're flat out punching people in the face. Even
yeah,
like, I mean, like civilians. There was one episode where Shipwreck just backhands a reporter because he won't shut
yeah.
up, and it's like,
Yeah,
whoa, he
well,
just,
then you got the whole they can't, nobody ever dies in a plane. Everybody
yeah,
passes out
yeah,
right before it explodes. Can't traumatize kids by showing, and then of course, we get to the movies of like Transformers, and they kill all your favorite Transformers in the first 10 minutes.
exactly, yeah. Or
Then Joe, they were gonna kill off Duke, and the oops, can't do that now.
yeah. I mean,
We
if
don't want
you,
parents groups coming after us. They'll
which I
riot in the
think
street.
is, and that's the crazy thing, and not to get on the movie tangent, but I think that death was, Duke's death. If they had left it in there, that would have been fine, I think. And actually, that death is actually warranted rather than more than Optimus, I feel, because Duke at that point he had been in 90% of the film, and then
Yeah,
his whole arc is like, okay, my little brother, he needs to grow up, he needs to step up, and then that sacrifice is going to make Falcon, become the hero, become a man. And I think that worked. I mean, I think they should have just like they should. I don't know why they don't just re-release and just take out the he's gone into a coma and then have Doc just delete the stuff with Doc at
I'm
the
sure
end.
there's somebody out there that's probably
Um,
done a voiceover of that where he says,
yeah, or you just have to just take it out. I mean, just have it. After he says "Yo, Joe," and then it just goes silent. With everybody crying and stuff. So, but no, I feel like that was something that, yeah, that. And again, that would have been emotional, like, oh my gosh, like,
"Yeah."
this is crazy, but it's just
Well,
like,
it wasn't just Optimus in the Transformers movie, though. I mean, they killed Ironhide, they killed
oh
Prowl,
yeah, yeah.
they just obliterated everybody that
Yeah,
you've grown to
Ultra
watch for a
Magnus, I
while. That
mean,
was
and
that
for me,
wasn't just one punch. That was like constant punch in your guts.
exactly, and for me, it was like, even though I wasn't that big of a Transformers fan, for me, seeing it even now, seeing it, I think because I'm a big Cobra Commander fan, and Chris Latta, Starscream, it's like, oh man, I can't. I
Mhm.
just like when Starscream gets obliterated, I'm just like, oh man, because but I just love Chris Latta's voice, and it's like he's always one of good, always going to be a
It
top.
was always funny because Cobra Commander in the show, honestly, if you were his underling, would you follow him?
No, I mean, that's the funny thing. It's
I mean, yeah, they kind of poke at it in Resolute, if you've ever seen that, where he says, "You think I'm incompetent?" Blah blah blah.
yeah,
But
yeah.
But to me, it was just like, nobody would follow this guy. As an adult, I look at that and go, nobody would follow him.
Yeah, I mean, it does,
He's the
it does.
ultimate wishy-washy villain. I mean, he can't make up his mind what he really wants.
It does, yeah, it does suspend
But
disbelief.
in
I
the
mean,
comics, they always made him actually competent.
oh yeah,
So I
yeah.
think that's where they missed that disconnect for a lot of people.
But I think that was kind of like, I mean, that to have the villain, that I guess they couldn't just have him just outwardly evil, and so they just wanted to kind of, I mean, you kind of had that with Destro. Destro, he was the competent one and kind of like the right hand man. But
Yeah,
but in the miniseries, I think it does, it does say in the lyrics, Cobra and Destro, because I think
yeah,
Destro at that point was supposed to be like, on
separate
par
thing.
with Commander, and maybe that was kind of like going to be their deal, with ongoing series. Like they would be battling for leadership, because at one point in the Mass Device, yeah, Destro was like, "Hey, I'm in charge now," and then Cobra Commander is like, at the end, he's like, it's like, he
Yeah.
grabs leadership,
It
but
was always a weird dynamic. It was really, really strange. Apparently, Nolan is discussing the never-ending story and the dying of the horse in a never-ending story. I believe this is a continuation of a conversation from.
yeah,
Wasn't that in the Instagram
yeah,
chat?
yeah. It's like
I think there were some moments there.
I can't watch that, man. I
I
just
want to
like,
kind of look at some photos of these are figures that have already come out and some that are on their way out. But I wanted to look, kind of get your your eye on these and see what you think.
okay.
And these
Go
are
ahead.
all Joe's. There was something about just this image. I looked at all of them, and you can see how they made they did a resin pour
Mhm.
for the water.
Yeah, and then you can always sometimes I've seen people use like clear plastic, and
Mm.
kind of just crumple it up, and kind of you can get that sheen, to make
With
it look like it's,
yeah, like cellophane
yeah,
or
cellophane, yeah.
saran wrap.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
I just thought this was a cool shot, and
Oh
I
yeah,
like
yeah.
I like Fiona, and I like Crocmaster. So I
Yeah,
mean,
and I tried to develop, I try to kind of develop that of that kind of, or kind of replicate it, but it's just like, yeah, it's just hard, because it's just right now, yeah, for sets and stuff like that. It's like to create like an outdoors, you really need to kind of build that up with
yeah,
a lot of
it's like
sets.
this one with the sand.
Yeah, yeah. For
I
that,
mean,
I
when
mean,
they're blowing the sand, they're blowing the sand with an aerosol can, but
exactly, yeah,
realistically, am I really going to be thrilled about blowing sand in my house?
yeah,
This would
exactly.
be to
So,
me an outside picture because I don't want sand everywhere.
yep, but
So but I do like the imagery. I do like some of the imageries.
mhm.
I love their photography. I
Yeah, and
think the Joe
that's the
photography is probably some of the best they have.
yeah, and a lot of the ones that they did for Flint, those were really, really nice, because it's like done at nights, and in
Yeah.
a forest kind of atmosphere. So
See, and all three of the ones for whatever was in that wave with them all got those kind of same backdrops. So it
right,
wasn't
right.
like they were trying to dynamically, but they do come back to the backdrops. I loved this image. I like the way that the light was coming in at him and coming off of him at the back. It kind of definitely portrays that nighttime. Of course, this is Commando Snake Eyes.
Yep.
Very very snowy, very cool looking thing.
I like that shot of Stalker. Yeah, that's really.
Oh,
I kind of was trying to create that with the one I did with him and
yeah.
Falcon, but
I kind of when I saw this one, I was like, oh, okay. I kind of got the idea that that's where you were going with it.
yeah.
But it's a cool image. I mean,
Mhm.
it's the fact that Tomax would be looking at the Cobra Trooper who's laying on the ground and not noticing that he's down, but then hey, should have moved that. Apparently, Jeremy decided to pay the late tax on the Robin.
Oh,
Mm,
well,
FOMO sucks. FOMO sucks. I didn't really see these photos when I got my gung ho, but this is actually a cool looking photo of them looking down through a grate, getting
yeah.
ready to
Oh,
drop
yeah.
in.
I remember
I
seeing
mean,
this one. And
his weapons are terrible, but whatever. It's
yeah, that gung ho. I ended up just tossing them. What I sold them to a collector shop here in Dallas, but yeah, I was not the
Dallas
gun.
Vintage Choice. We can
Yeah.
advertise.
Yeah, I just and because I mean, I finally was able to get my hands on the classic gung ho. So okay, this is the one that I want. This is the one I need.
Well, I mean, I just used that gung ho for my Naga hide. I just did a lot of
Hell,
sculpting on it
yeah,
to get it there.
yeah, amazing looking that you did on that.
At least the head anyway. The body is Bone Breaker from the Marvel Legends wave, and then the hips were Duster. The legs were Wakando. I mean, he is about as much of a piecemeal as I can get. And here's those one of those the Flint images.
Yeah.
And with Lady J, I thought this was perfect for them because it's encapsulates their relationship.
Exactly.
Little nighttime. Now, this is the new stuff. I'm waiting patiently for this. I have my rock and roll in my pile of loot.
Oh yeah, he just dropped.
I have a feeling because I'm hearing rumors that they have gotten this wave is sitting, getting ready to get shipped out.
Big Bad has
the rest of them, no, just everywhere.
Oh, okay.
The entire distribution is on the way. Now, I love Torpedo. Always did as a kid. Yeah, he doesn't look like a seal, but you know what?
Yeah.
He's a seal coming out of the water. We'll live with that. Okay, that's fine. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But I love the way this looks.
Oh yeah, it was great. Nice top light to kind of give that. It's probably it's probably just a light that's there on the dock, just coming.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those ones that I'm going to want to do a photo shoot with at some point.
Yeah, I didn't pull the trigger on him. Again, I'm kind of just trying to stay within, characters that really mean, kind of just really call to me. And I mean, I was fine with Torpedo, but no, it's just, I think out of this wave, I did pick up the Bazooka and Scrap Iron and Shipwreck. Shipwreck was one I've been waiting for forever. So
yeah. Now I got the Big Ben here, but I love the lighting, how it's coming off the back, and how you can see the face and everything. It's a cool photo.
Oh yeah, the atmosphere.
I don't know what it is about the Joe photos that are just so much better than the other ones.
Yeah, I mean they really I can't remember who the photographer they have. I think I do follow him on Instagram, but yeah, he does amazing work, and it's just, I mean, they really just capture that essence of
there's a dynamic to it.
Yeah,
and it's movement. It's you get that. You know what? I did not ever. The Range Vipers came out after I had stopped collecting Joes. I mean, really, honestly, I mean, I wouldn't have never figured out that was actually just a helmet, not their.
Yeah.
I mean, it was Joe. So what was the chances of that? As a kid, I would have thought, oh, that's his head. His brain is sticking out. And I love the shot of timber. It's very simple. It's playful. It's it's something different.
Yeah, and again, I like to kind of try to recreate stuff, and more or less just because if I do get like writer's block, I'll just look, and that's one of the ones I did recreate with that version of Snake Eyes and Timber that I picked up. And I mean, yeah, it's just it's always fun to kind of see if I can kind of recreate a shot or maybe put my own spin on it or something. But yeah, for me that's my favorite version. That this Commando version
for dios. I mean, their dios are great.
Yeah, they really. I mean that to me that really. I always want to say focus on I mean start small. Don't try and go too much into backgrounds and stuff like that. But ultimately, I mean that does make a difference. It really creates the atmosphere. Really makes it seem like like this right here. It's like these Televipers. I was like, oh man, it's like
and then you got the other troopers coming down in the back, and it's.
I mean, it looks straight out of a movie. Like it looks like something, maybe some something from a Netflix series that we really need.
Well, I mean, it's dynamic too, and I'm glad that they did photos of all all the faces on this. But I don't have all of them, but
and see
that I had to get 3. I mean, a weirdo, and I had to order 3.
I mean, it's for different, different heads. I mean, I wonder if people are going to order 3 Vicrons. I mean, I think we were, I think we were talking that in the Instagram chat. Some people, and because you want to have the 3 different outfits, to
Yeah.
display. I mean, it's like I mean, to each his own. I mean, it's no big.
Whatever. I'm happy with this bat. I like that they changed up stuff.
Yeah,
I
yeah. Because
like
I
the
mean,
new head. I like the new chest plate. This
mhm,
little middle thing is a chest plate. So
yep, yeah. I
I
mean,
I'm
I mean,
excited that there's something different. I
exactly.
love
Yeah,
the different look. I mean, it looks cool. I mean, I could care less about the saw arm. That's a whatever for me. But obviously, they were paying attention to all the people selling
chainsaws. Yeah,
chainsaw arms.
yeah. And then like I think I can't remember what the character's name, but yeah, he's got a. I've seen him a lot on Instagram. He's got the actual head for a chainsaw, and it's like he's just
Mm-hmm.
making the
The
round.
Chainsaw Man. Yeah.
Yep. It's like people just like chainsaws.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Chainsaw Man get a pretty good anime and manga. It's
Hmm.
just weird. Very, very strange. And of course, your Snow Job with
Yep.
his, Arctic bats.
Yep.
So I'm assuming you didn't get Snow Job because he's specialized.
No, I got him.
Okay.
Yep. No, Snowjob was
Yeah,
one that
yeah.
I had to get. Yeah. It's like he was. He
Yeah.
was.
This was one of the ones me and my brother used to fight over to play with.
Oh, really?
I mean, we were. I was born in Denver, so we went snow skiing pretty much from the time I was 4 on, at
Oh,
least once or twice a year till we moved out of there when I was 8. But we still would go every couple years. So skiing for me was one of those things. And I got my girls. I got the Valkyries. I got 2 sets of those, mainly because they're troopers and I could do without the gold, but I figure I can
yeah.
easily. That's not that big of a deal
Yeah.
for me. For some people, that was an off-putting thing, gold yellowish thing.
Yeah.
And here's your boy, Scrap Iron.
Yeah. And it's just, I mean, with his little
I'm
tank and
glad
everything.
his helmet comes off.
Yes.
That to me is a huge deal. I wish we would have done that with Copperhead.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
That would have made me even happier with that one. But yeah, the drone looks amazing. I like that there's a variety of effects that come with him.
Hmm. And that's the thing.
Something different.
With a lot of those effects, I always wonder. I mean, are they playing to toy photographers? I mean, because it's like, or I mean, to a certain
Well,
extent.
either toy photographers or those of us that like to display our stuff,
Yeah.
doing stuff.
I mean, some of that is just like, I mean, for a kid, I mean, I don't know. I know as a kid, myself as a kid would have loved all that, but again, it's just like I probably would have lost a lot of it, and
Oh
so
yeah, well, I mean, we were kids. We didn't pay attention to that. That's why they had those weapons packs that you could buy that would have all
exactly.
remolds of the weapons that you've lost 12 times.
Yep.
I miss those kind of things. That's what we need as
Yep.
adults. We need you lost this crap boxes. That's what they need to call them. We know you lost this crap boxes.
Yep.
It's just giving. Now this is something that they showed off today.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's another repaint, but it's a Crimson Viper. It's a troop builder, so I'll probably pick up 2.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go crazy with this one because I have 5, 6, 9 blue Vipers.
Oh wow.
3 are still in a box. 4 are still in a box. So 5 are out. Oh wait, no, I have 10.
Gosh, man.
Yeah,
I was fine with just the 3-pack that I got.
Yeah, I have one of the 22s and then 2 3-packs and then a third 3-pack and then another one that's in the box still. Yeah, I promised myself I was only going to do 3 trooper. Yeah, that rule got thrown out pretty quickly.
I mean, but it's still awesome to see, especially in photography, when you see people that have like loads and loads of Vipers or Crimson Guard. I mean, it's pleasing to the eye, at least to me. I mean, just see them just all like lined up. I mean, as they should be, as they would be in if there was a movie or a show.
Yeah, and then here's Grunt. I'm glad that they did this because I mean, I don't really care that he has the Iron Corpse
Hmm.
helmet. I mean, I'm going to use him as Grunt because Grunt was one of my first Joes. We got those
Yep.
first 12 that first year, so
Yep.
I have an affinity. But he does have the Sunbow blaster.
Yeah, yeah, that was the that was I was kind of surprised by that, but yeah, that's like that's just like
I was kind of shocked that they did, and they messed up the M16.
yeah.
That mag should be straight, not curved.
Yep.
But okay, it is what it is. I mean, they're supposed to be like, but not of.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's better than what we had as kids.
Now, this is where I'm getting in trouble. You see who's at the bottom of this one, Mezco.
Hmm.
Now, I'm not a Snake Eyes or Storm Shadow. They're not my favorite Joes, so I can live without them.
Hmm.
But I have the Destro. It's actually shipping right now. I should have it by Monday.
Man.
Um, yeah, I can get into trouble with these because
And I think my limit is the Super Sevens because I think that's. I mean, I've seen the Mezco Destro, and I think I'm fine. I mean, I have a classified version, and I have a Super Seven. Like I think I'm good. Like I don't need to really dive too deep in the Mezcos, but I mean,
I don't either. But Destro will be my first Mezco. I
mhm.
have a Mafex. I have a Beast Kingdom. I have all of the 12 112 pre premiums
Yep.
as they call it. All right, so got some more. Here we go. So, are there any figures, new or old, that you're missing that you would want?
Um, let me think here. No. Well, new, I guess. I mean, definitely the Whiplash that's out there. I mean, I've been, he's kind of been making the rounds, mainly going to like influence and stuff like that. So he's definitely something that's like, oh man, he looks so amazing. It's like I gotta get my hands on him. There is I guess the Mafex Terminator. I've been kind of dancing around that one. That one's one I've been kind of like, I really want to do like some with him and RoboCop, the NECA that I have, but something about that version of the T800. I mean, I just like, to me, it looks like he's like the ultimate version, the Mafex one, and I just like, he's on eBay, or no, I'm sorry, not eBay, or Evil Bay. He's on Amazon for like I think like 83 right now.
Oh,
So it's
that's
kind of like, I'm like, and I
that's
mean, if I
that's not
order,
bad at all.
no, and he'll come, it's Amazon Prime, so a day or two. So that's one that I've definitely been kind of just bent down dancing around. Maybe I'll pull the trigger, but I think there is a Megatron, the Super 7 version, and for me with Transformers, I think that's my limit. I already have Optimus, and that was that you showed on there, and the Megatron. I'm just waiting for him to hit my power loop. But once I get those two, I think I'll be good. Because my dream is to actually have a Super 7, core of the four, which is uh, Mumra, Megatron, Go Commander, Skeletor.
Yeah,
Have
main
the four,
villain,
have the
main
four
villain.
have the four pillars, and then I'll be good. Same with the heroes. Have the four main heroes that at least I feel like that represent the 80s.
The represent, and those are your touch point figures. What we
Yeah,
would call that. Those are the ones that have emotional significance because they're characters that you grew up with or you identified with.
exactly. Yeah.
So, any vintage lines that you would think that you would want to see remade that aren't being remade currently?
Uh, well, I mean, it's pretty much like a lot of stuff is kind of out there. And I know Ramen Toy is doing like the Centurions, and that's something that I kind of did want to get into as a kid, but I only had uh I can't remember his name. The green one, Manta Ray or Mace.
Yeah,
Um,
I think
and
it's Ray. I think it was the Manta, and his name was Ray.
yeah, something like that. And um, but again, that's that's ramen toys, so it's kind of like a kind of again great work they do, but um and that's one thing I do like that they kind of help out the community with stuff like that. Definitely the other one would be Mask. I don't even think I brought that up, but Mask was probably another big line that I was into and really just I think they satisfied what Transformers couldn't for me, and that mainly with Transformers, I could not do the transforming aspect really well as a kid,
Mhm.
so I would get frustrated. So I think with Mask, that kind of like okay, that scratches that itch where I can kind of transform something really quick with a push of a button or something, and awesome. It's like it's something different.
Yeah,
And of course, something about like that kind of scale of figure just always with you can bend the knees, had some articulation.
yeah,
Really, I really enjoyed, and yeah, I think Mask should really make a comeback as well. I think that's something that I think they really need to, you know, whether it's third party, like or just an actual like or a bigger toy company, just go ahead and you know just refresh that line.
Hmm, okay. So, any toy lines that you'd like to see change hands? So, change companies that's doing them currently. Who would it be and why?
Oh man, that's hard. I mean, because I really I'm not too of a too much of a negative person or someone that wants to that I really don't see a problem with a lot of the ones that I have. I don't know. I mean, that is tough because I just don't really. I think McFarlane. I mean, I think they do a good job. I mean, maybe to see what Four Horsemen could do with Masters. Maybe the way they've been doing it with Mythic, kind of see if they got back the license and from Mattel and seeing what they could conjure up instead of doing the kind of like what they have with classics. But and that's all I could really think of.
So, I'm going to ask you what we call the magic question.
Oh no.
Now, in psychology, we would ask it and say that, if all of your problems went away today, what would you do? For toy collecting, it's more of if if money and space weren't a problem, what would you collect and why?
Uh, it probably would be uh Hot Toys, and it probably would be just bigger, like not being afraid of getting like whether it's play sets or anything like that, like even vintage stuff, like going back and
Mhm.
getting a classic fully decked out Gray Skull, Snake Mountain, Fright Zone. Um, But yeah, I mean, it would be just any hot toy that I feel like is something because to me, I think that those are real definitive versions of whatever character they do. Like the new Michael Keaton Flash hot toy they just
Mhm.
announced. I mean, God, he looks so amazing. That's like I don't know if I'll be able to pull the trigger on it, but it's like he does look. I think once the movie comes around, I'm gonna be kinda like, oh man, it's like I got to get a version of that.
Well, I got a couple weeks on that, and then the
I
movie's gonna hit you.
I know, and but for me, I think that's what it would be. I mean, it's just these bigger. Definitely would be any Mondo He Man that comes out. Like right now, I'm kind of just like I know there's more. There's probably gonna be some announcements coming out. Is um
Yes, Adam, my son was microwaving popcorn. That's what he does.
um yeah, I did pre-order Trap Jaw just because he looks amazing. But if they come out with a Beast Man or Tila or
Oh, they will. I mean, there's no
I,
reason they wouldn't.
yeah, exactly, and then
Are they
that
afraid of? Are they afraid of making money? No.
no,
So
that would probably be yeah. I mean, if I would just be full on like boom, I'll just get every single Mondo version of Motu that they come out with.
okay. So any buyer's regrets, remorse, anything that you bought that you just like after the fact, you're just like, yeah, I don't know why I did this.
Well, I mean, I've kind of brought up a couple times Gung Ho,
Yeah.
that first version Gung Ho. I got the Shazam, or I'm sorry, it's not Shazam, but Black Adam. And I took him out once, took a photo with him, and that was it. It's like I put him back in the box. I'm just like, I don't know why I got that. Just like I mean, he's gonna just sit there collect dust, or unless I can trade him or pawn him off somewhere. But Um, off the top of my head, yeah, I think that would probably be it at the moment. Yeah, I think that would pretty much those two.
So, is there a time that you see yourself not collecting? What does that look like for you?
I think if I don't, I'm not sure. It's like it's kind of like if the if the collection gets too big. I mean, if it's like, I mean, I kind of wonder because it's like Masterverse would be like my it's like my ultimate in the 101 display. But man, it's like I mean, I'm already running out of shelf space on here. It's like it's it's almost like. Uh, I'm not sure because again, the collecting and the photography kind of go hand in hand, and I'm hoping that I can continue on with tour photography, and then again, once I'm older and retired and got nothing else to do, I can always just like something I can fall back on because I've seen a lot of friends, family after they retire, it's like they just go downhill. It's like they don't know what to do. It's like because their jobs become you know their main.
Existence. Yeah.
Yep. And for me, it's like okay, well, it's like I got something I can do. It's like I can keep collecting or just use the collection I have and just keep taking photos and keep my mind active, keep that part of my brain kind of working so I'm just kind of going along.
Creative juices flowing, so to speak,
Exactly.
right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So, is there any trick to photography? Is there anything special that we have to do as budding
I,
photographers?
I don't. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I think everybody has a little bit those creative juices in them and kind of like that bit of their own style. Again, if you go back and look at my earlier stuff, it's like I can't even look at it. It's like wow, I mean, it's like I just do a harsh slide on some on an action figure and just like took a photo, with my phone camera. But
Mhm.
again, you use what you have, and you just kind of build upon that. And you just grow. I mean, again, take a look at my earlier stuff, and then you can just see the progression. And for me, once I switched over from my phone camera and actually started using my wife's Nikon, and then just learning how to manipulate it and how to change work with the settings because I never really worked with the DSLR before, so
Yeah.
I was kind of just learning on the go and just reading PDF manuals and just kind of just again taking inspiration from other people's photos and then trying to recreate that as best you can. And I mean that's what I was doing as even if I didn't post it, if I was just trying to just do a test shot of okay something I saw on Instagram, let me see if I can recreate that, and that kind of gets you going because you're trying to recreate it. You're trying to look at a photo and trying to see okay where's that light coming from and do they use a balance or they how do they create this, and then you trying to do it yourself just I think it just makes it you just learn a lot more by doing that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I have zero questions left,
Oh
which
man,
is,
did I pass?
I don't think it's a pass or fail, at least on my list. I do have the most important question
Oh no.
that I'm going to ask. What did you find joy in today?
Oh man, just being on this show and talking to you, man.
Oh, I appreciate that.
I
But
was a little bit nervous because it's like I mean it's like I didn't know if you were gonna bring the pain or not, but I was like I mean
no, and I'm trying to be. This is a positive place where we're just having a conversation about toys.
yep.
And the reality is I enjoy my toys. I'm
Mhm.
a grown man. I play with toys. I don't really care if anybody knows it. You
Yeah.
know, I, it doesn't make any difference to me. And I want to talk to people that like talking about what they do. You know, I've been wanting to talk to you about, photos and stuff and for a while, and I kind of wanted to pick your brain here and there about stuff
Mhm.
on layering and figuring out but I think overall, I think everybody would be asleep 5 minutes into the layering conversation
I
because
mean,
they'd be like, what does that mean? What is layering? I don't understand. It's
yeah. I mean,
confusing.
but
So many questions. So many questions.
but no, I mean it's I mean some of that stuff is it can be kind of daunting or overwhelming. But no, I mean I just it's if you find joy in it, yeah. I mean like me, I love watching people editing in Photoshop on YouTube, and I kind of just um sometimes it can get frustrating because there's no voiceover, they're just going in there. It's just like a
Yeah,
recorded
I
screen.
need somebody to do the voiceovers because that's
Yeah,
just watching what they're doing, clicking on it, it's just like, what are you doing? Where are you
yeah,
going? I don't understand. Use words.
yeah,
At least
exactly.
at least give me closed captions. I mean something. Tell
Yeah,
me where you're going. Tell me what you're doing. I don't
exactly. Yeah.
understand what you're doing.
But no, I mean, I had to enjoy being on here. I mean, it's just again, what's great, and when I first started with just the photography, it kind of just it segued into meeting all these great people, all these other great minds, in toy collecting and toy photography, and it's just, you know, hoping to find a safe space, because nobody in my inner circle, whether it's friends, family, coworkers, nobody gets any of this. It's like they just
Yeah.
don't. It just does not like what you
Doesn't
know.
filter. Yeah. Yeah.
And so to be around, when I do see stuff that comes up, whether it's new figures or anything related to what we enjoy, whether it's GI Joe, Motu, Mythic Legions, or just anything, and to be able to kind of share that with
With
yourself
others.
or the frenzy or toy photographers or anything like that. And it's like it's always having that positive reinforcement always helps, because it's like, okay, yeah, this is like, I mean, there's people just like me that enjoy this, and they want to hear this info, or they want to get scoops on anything. But or they want to just learn, just they ask me questions like, hey, how'd you do that, how'd you do that shot, or how do you, or how can I do this with Photoshop? And I'm always welcome to help anybody, or talk to them, because it's just like, I mean, I'm not trying to hide a secret, because for me, at the end of the day, it is a hobby with all this. It's like I don't
Mhm.
have any kind of negativity as far as like I have to be the first one to have these figures. Like, no, I'll get them. I mean, I want to get them because I want them, not
I
because
don't know. You paid the Palm art, didn't you? On the
well, I mean, for that, I mean, it's well, that's because again, for me to to get them, because I mean, I think some of them are still not really, I haven't been released on BBTS, but I did mess up with those with the newest wave of masters, because I did not do Power Loot. So when they shipped, they would have been $4 shipping for each one.
ew.
So yeah, I screwed that up when I ordered. I could have gone in probably and called them and, hey, can you
Yeah, you
put
probably could have. That would
yeah,
have been
but
I got
ultimately, I mean, it altogether, and again, Paul Moore, he does do, he does do the for no interest payments. So, I mean, once
I can't in my head justify paying that much more for a figure that's going to be out and en masse and sitting on shelves. I'll just wait in that.
well,
I mean, if there was something very very particular that I couldn't find anywhere else, then I'll pay that little bit of. It was I paid the Evil Bay tax for 00 Snake Eyes and 31 um, Zartan, and then
yeah.
Regal Cobra Commander. I mean, there was no getting around
Yeah,
that at that
yeah,
point.
you have to like pick your battles and stuff like that. Pick what you're gonna, what hill you're gonna die on. Because, I mean, for me, it was just I was fine with that. And the thing is, as of now, I still have not purchased any Motu, on the shelf. When you mentioned it would be on the shelf,
Yeah.
it's so bad around here with all with releases and stuff. It's just, I mean, like
Well,
I'm just
I mean,
now.
I'm technically just up I-35 from you, so
Yeah, yeah.
so it's pretty bad here for most of the time. But I
Yep.
mean, Motu is one of the things, at least Masterverse, I can find plenty of now. If I'm talking um, Origins, no, it's Naked Stratos, Buzz Off, and Jitsu. That's pretty much all I'm finding.
That's the same thing here. I mean, that's all on the shelves. I mean, we just now I started seeing Sorceress and Shadow Weaver,
So
and I've had them for like months now. It's like, okay, well, it's like I'm
yeah,
again for me, it's just like it's just to have them, just to get them.
it's
I mean,
FOMO. It's FOMO. Just call it FOMO, John.
yeah,
It's okay. It's
yeah,
fear of missing out. You're worried
yeah.
about it, and some of that you might. I mean, there's some waves that for whatever reason you can find plenty of, and then there's other times you can't find anything of it. And then their
Well,
distribution has just been so awful because of COVID and everything else.
yeah.
Everybody's distribution. I mean, honestly, I'm to the point with, when I do my pre-orders, I'm kind of to the point where I just want to wait until it comes in
Hmm.
and then buy it rather
Yeah.
than pre-ordering it. But there's some things that no matter what I do, I have to pre-order because I won't get it otherwise.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So
I mean,
that's one of those things that just drives me crazy.
yeah. I mean, for the most part, I think I've been pretty good as far as the for me for for FOMO for me it's like, well, I had all the newest wave of Masterverse. I had them on pre-order at Big Bad Toy Store. For me, it was just like, okay, I can get early, so that's for me. That's like that matters,
Yeah.
somewhat. But for I think that's again just because it was Masters. Anything else, like if like the Super Sevens, if they were the Wave 2, like if
Yeah.
Destro for the Ultimates was out already from some other some other
Retailer.
retailer that was double or like more expensive, like I'm not paying. I'll wait till Big Bad ships that. But something about Motu
There's
just
a lot of that, the price gouging, and I think a lot of people that are worried about not getting things. It was kind of funny because when that Azrael Batman that McFarlane put out
Mhm.
here, I never saw it ever on a peg. I saw a clearance sticker on it a week after it was supposedly out everywhere.
Oh wow.
So obviously,
I think
somebody was involved in that situation.
I did see one here, but yeah, I mean, I was fine not
But
picking them.
when I looked on eBay at that point, they were going for $80 to $100. I'm like, why would I spend $80 to $100 on a $20 figure when I can buy a $100 figure for $100 at that point?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's yeah. I have my limits, and that's yeah.
I get to the point where I look at figures that the Destro for me was just one of those. I saw it, and it's kind of something that just it hit the right feels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Firefly is kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But I don't have that emotional attachment to Snake Eyes or Storm Shadow, so I can live without those on Mezco. End of the deal.
Yeah.
So it's not. It's I'm picking and choosing in that instance.
And for me, I picked up the Keaton Mezco, and I got them through a shop on Discord, and the guy come in, he made me a pretty good deal, which is actually when I was like, man, but I think I paid too much for it, because I didn't know about the Mezco '89 Batman until like after, so I wasn't part of that whole like waiting 2 years and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I just found out about it. But then he's on Big Bad Toy Store now for $170. I'm like, oh shoot. So maybe because for some reason I was thinking he was like $100 or something like that, and I was like, dang, I think I overpaid it. But that made me feel a lot better when I saw him on Big Bad Toy Store for $170 now, and I'm just like, okay, it's like actually that's not how much I pay for it. So I was like, okay, I feel pretty good now.
Big Bad Toy Store is actually raising prices on some stuff.
Yeah, I heard that.
After it sells out everywhere else.
Yeah, so
you'll catch that. You'll catch that now where they're doing that, trying to maximize their. Because honestly, toys, their profit margin for a secondary retailer is probably not more than 10 or 15% realistically. Yeah. I can't imagine it being that high. But since you said what you had joy with, I don't have anything else. So I guess I'm going to tell everybody. Hang on. Let me go back. Where are you at? There you go. Find your joy today. And if you can be anything, be kind. And you all have a good night.
Everyone have a good night.